Welcome, everybody, to the Jim Masters Show live entertainment, lifestyle, celebrity, variety talk show series. I'm your host, Jim Masters. Such a pleasure to have you with us. Thanks for tuning in from literally all around the world. We welcome everybody who's watching all across the United States, Canada, Mexico, all throughout North America. We welcome all of our friends who watch religiously in South America, viewers we have watching in Brazil, Argentina, Peru, and all around South America. We also welcome those of you who are watching throughout Europe as well. Ireland, England, Scotland, Sweden, Finland, Germany, Italy, Greece, France, Spain, all over Europe. And also our friends watching in Asia, Australia, and New Zealand, and Africa, and Arctic Circle and Antarctica. I think we got it all covered. We welcome you all. I'm your host, Jim Masters. You guys know I work in television and radio professionally, and this is our entertainment, lifestyle, variety, celebrity talk show series we started to bring people together and to showcase amazing guests who come in from all backgrounds, all levels of celebrity friends of mine I've worked with over the years as well, and lots of special people who come through to entertain, inform, have a good time, and to inspire. And boy, do we have an extraordinary guest joining us live and direct, not from New York, not from Chicago, not from Los Angeles, but beautiful Indiana over by the Ohio River. I'm talking about the incomparable Emmy-winning host, comedian, author, actress, Dee Dee Sorvino. She is the wife of the late iconic film star and beloved actor, Paul Sorvino. Of course, you know, we lost him just about a year ago, and we're still thinking about him. And Dee Dee says she's, the thoughts are there every single day. One of the most iconic actors of our time, decades on film, stage, television, one of the greats. And they were quite a couple. And, it's really a beautiful story, and we're so honored that Dee Dee is joining us. And there's some exciting news, in addition to talking about the cool things that she's up to as a comedian and host and actress and so much more. And of course, celebrating Paul's amazing life and career. There's something cool that is born out of their love for one another and their love of wine. And there's actually a wine that has just come out that is paying homage to Paul's life, but celebrates the love of Dee Dee and Paul Sorvino. And that is really amazing. And there it is on the screen, Sorvino Vino. Yes, really incredible. And we are so excited to be telling you about this. This might be new to you. You might not even realize that this exists, but it is extraordinary. And you can see the fabulous label right there. And it has Paul and Dee Dee right there on the label. So every time that you have a really nice smooth glass of the wine, you're going to be thinking about Paul and Dee Dee and the love and all of it that makes the world go round, right, gang? We talk about that all the time here on the Jim Masters Show Live. So this is something that's sort of brand new. And, we had, not that long ago, we had the owner, Lorimar Winery in beautiful Temecula, California, on our show as a guest. And he was giving us wine and food tips. You may remember that during one of the holidays. And this is actually happening through that beautiful vineyard and winery there in Temecula. Now, I told you guys, if you follow closely, that I was sent on a TV shoot with my professional work in New York. TV News magazine series sent me to Temecula to interview a guest. Temecula is such a cool place. It is so beautiful. And there are vineyards and wineries everywhere. If you've never visited that area of California, it's really just northeast of San Diego. It is really something special. And this is kind of like what the vineyard looks like. It's something out of, Alice in Wonderland. It is so beautiful, really is. And the wine, they use the finest grapes possible. We're going to also talk about how all of this really got spurred and started when Dee Dee and Paul wrote this book, Pinot, Pasta, and Parties. Did you know that this book is out there and available? Did you also know that Paul Sorvino sang And they just got a CD out that's available on Amazon. I bet you didn't know that either. Yeah, multi-talented actor. We're going to be celebrating Paul and also Dee Dee as well, as she joins me from her home state, Midwest, Indiana, in just a second. And just want to let you guys know, if you'd like to comment during the show, we welcome the JMS Lovities watching from all around the world. If you'd like to comment during the show while the show is on live, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV, right now. And there's a special bonus when you do that. When you subscribe, you can actually comment right now in the JMS Lovity Hall chat room. And it costs nothing to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's free. Just hit the red subscribe button. But you can comment in there as well. So very cool. I see a lot of comments already built up. We welcome all of you from watching around the world. And yeah, we're going to talk wine. We're going to talk lots of cool things on this episode. So thanks for joining us, gang. Let's get this show on the road as I welcome our very special guest, Dee Dee Sorvino, joining us here. Dee Dee, welcome to the Jim Masters Show. It's an honor and a pleasure to have you with us.
Jim, you are so likable. I love you already. My gosh, I wish Paul could have met you. You're fantastic. You know, a lot of times these shows, you get these cheesy loser people. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to freaking do this. But, you know, and Roger told me, you know, my publicist, he says, no, you'll like Jim because he knows I don't like anybody. That's not true, but you know, there has to be a reason. But you're lovely, so thank you. And I love it that you're in New York. Of course, Paul was from New York.
Yes.
We lived in New York, LA. And then when the pandemic hit, I shared with you earlier before the show that this was sort of our safe house because, you know, it was open in the Midwest because, you know, during the pandemic, New York and LA, they were shut down.
Yes.
So I said, honey, can I buy something, you know, close to home where it's open? So he said, sure, whatever you want to do. So, you know, we would split our time with New York, LA, and Indiana. And everyone's like, Indiana, what's going on there?
Yeah.
I said, well, it's open. I can get a burger.
Right.
I can at least get a burger there. Hello.
Exactly.
So thank you, Jim, for having me. You're such a great host already. And I love it that you dealt with Lormar because I just had them on my podcast, Drinks with Dee Dee, today. So it's all a nice tie-in, isn't it?
Aren't they wonderful there? That's such a beautiful place. And Temecula is such a wonderful spot there, huh?
Well, you'll have to come out we're going to do a movie night with Sorvino Vino. So you'll have to come out and host the whole thing. Why not? You're a doll.
I love that. That sounds great. I'll be, yeah,
Fun,
always,
right?
you know, I'll fly out there. As a matter of fact, I just got back not just a couple of weeks ago from a shoot up in Napa Valley, actually, which was also beautiful. That's a gorgeous area of the state as well. Really, really nice. How did you and Paul meet initially? How did that happen? The love story of Paul and Dee Dee.
Yeah, I mean, I have to tell you, I do. I mean, look, I have to admit, I cry every day. I miss Paul every day.
Yes.
You know, it is what it is.
Oh, of course. Yes.
The great, you know, what a great man.
Yes.
So the thing about us meeting was really special because he was on the Neil Cavuto show on Fox News, and then I took his seat. He was a guest, and then I was a guest. I was a regular on Fox News as a political pundit, which I gave that up when I married Paul because Hollywood, they don't like Republicans. I'm a Republican. Don't hate me if you're a Democrat. I gave it up for comedy and wine and, you know, other things. But Paul was a guest on the Neil Cavuto show. I took his chair. I was a guest. And then he started stalking me. And it worked.
And it worked.
We were on the Neil Cavuto show in Italian. The producer was an Italian. And then he said, hey, Paul, you know, would you want to go over and get a drink? He said, only if she's coming. So the producer, another Italian, ran out the door as I'm getting into the car. And they said, look, will you get drinks with Paul Sorvino next door? And I'm like, well, you know, I mean, you don't have to twist my arm that hard to do that. I said, okay. So anyway, after that, you know, the sparks flew and we had dinner and that was the beginning. And so a year later, we were married. And I thought, I'm not going to marry an actor. I'm not going to go to LA. and I married an actor, and I went to LA. Because what do you do? It's Paul Sorvino,
Wow. He
the most
wasn't just,
charming, wonderful man in the world,
yeah,
you know?
he wasn't just any actor, right? He was
Yeah,
something
what a good,
else. Oh, you people, of course, remember him from so many incredible, iconic movies, stage performances, television shows, and so much more. But of course, Goodfellas, I mean, that was a classic, still is a classic. Iconic, huh? On so many, he
yeah.
really, he was,
Anywhere we went, they knew
yes,
Polly.
yeah,
Anywhere we went, and the younger people too, because Goodfellas is on all the time. You know, it's
yes,
an
it
old
is.
movie. It's been out a long time. Doesn't matter. The young people know him because it's on all the time. Anywhere we went, they knew him.
I mean, look at the folks that are in this photo here. I mean, every single one of them iconic in their own right, and so that's incredible. So, so he noticed you and sort of started following,
Oh
and then
no,
the
stalking, and he would tell you that. He said that's for me, not even she's for me. You know, he said that's for me, and he would not let it go, and he would
wow,
not leave me alone, and it worked. I'm just telling you, he was a real man. He knew what he wanted, and he proved himself to me, and it just worked out. And then we had the most wonderful marriage. We were happy every single day, every day. We were
which
so happy. We had the perfect marriage. I
yeah,
can't even believe it. I can't even believe I'm saying that because
yeah,
I wasn't even sure it existed until I was with Paul. But this man is a real man. You know, he's like knew what he wanted. He took charge. He was sweet to me. He was lovely to everyone. You know, everybody loved Paul. You know how like these so-called stars that are sort of banking in a Hollywood, but not really. They're kind of mean. They're kind of difficult, right? But
yeah,
Paul was a sweetheart to everybody. He was lovely. He was just never difficult. He just was sweet to everyone. If they came up and asked him for an autograph, and they interrupt our dinner 82 times, but he was
yeah.
always lovely about it. You know, he
He,
never forgot that those were the people that were his fans and friends, and he
right.
was just very sweet and gracious.
So, yeah, for those who are super fans of Paul, they're probably very, very, they've never had the pleasure of meeting him. They're probably very happy to hear that off screen, because he played some really iconic roles. That off screen, he was a sweetheart of a guy too,
Yeah,
right?
very much so. You know, a lot of times we had comment about these people that, I mean, they were actors, they had some success, but they were so mean to everybody. We never understood that. And Paul never understood that. He really appreciated his fans and people that were lovely enough to come up and say, thank you so much for, your contribution. And he really appreciated that every time. And it happened at, anytime we went out. I mean, he was recognized. And he just was he just loved people. He loved his craft. He appreciated the fact that people would take the time to thank him. And, he was a true legend. You've got actors and then you've got legend. And Paul was a legend. He really was. There aren't very many movie stars left, but he was one of them. And he just did it the right way. And, he died July 25th. So sad, so upsetting. But he
It's not even a year, right?
lived a full
Yeah.
life. Uh, you know, and he just there's no one like him. He was very old school. He was a true Renaissance man because he was a sculptor, painter, actor. He was Tony nominated
Yeah.
on Broadway, not a small thing.
Got it
So
all.
he was able to uh, be a big star on the small screen. I hate to call TV the small screen, but that's what they say.
Yeah.
On Law and Order, a big star there, clearly a movie star, a stage star in New York. And that's tough because those are tough critics. But for that championship season, Tony nominated, that was a big deal. He was also an opera singer. I mean, he really did do it all. I mean, you give me someone else who did all of that. I dare you to name someone who is able to do everything Paul Sorvino did.
Maybe God. That's about it, right? That's So it came to mind first. God and then Paul.
Right.
Now, you also have your own fabulous career, Emmy-winning host, actress, author, comedian as well. So you've got a lot of things that you've been doing in the creative arts as well. How did you get started? Because you've been doing that even well before you met the incomparable Paul Sorvino. This is a trail that you've blazed for yourself as well, Dee Dee. Tell us about what inspired you to get into entertainment and the arts as well.
Well, thank you, Jim, for bringing that up because, after you marry Paul Sorvino, nobody else in the room matters. It is what it is. You accept that. And I love that. I loved my husband so much. I didn't care that nobody cared about what I did, in the past or present, because when you are in a marriage and you love someone, nothing else matters. You put your spouse first. Paul put me first. I put him first. But Paul was so big and he was such a legend that it was all about Paul. And I was happy. I was so happy to support him just to be Paul's wife. However, before that, yes, I did have a lot going on. And I was on Fox all of the time. I was a political pundit. I won an Emmy for hosting. And in fact, Kevin McCarthy, which is a big name now, but back in the day, I helped him get elected to chairman of National Young Republicans. Kevin McCarthy, do you know who I'm talking about?
Oh,
Speaker of the
sure.
House.
Yeah. Speaker of the House now. And you've
Not
known him for
everybody,
you've
not
known him for
everybody involved in
years.
politics. But, Kevin and I ran together. He was chairman and I was co-chairman of Young Republicans. And then I became chairman. And but he would tell you I was the popular one. He was not, because the same thing when I took 15 votes, because he just is not as conservative as a lot of those other folks, but great guy, great friend forever. And, he and I go way, way, way back. So my background is always like a foot in politics and maybe a finger in entertainment. So then when I met Paul, I gave all that up. I gave the political punditry up because he was starting to get some grief about it because, Hollywood, it's not exactly a Republican haven. So, I will never say I'm not a Republican. I mean, I lean right. I just do. I want my guns. I want my freedom. That's how I feel. But I respect my liberal friends. So, as Americans, I think we should all be able to express our feelings, vote, be active Americans. I'm all for it. But after I married Paul, I gave that up because I feel as a performer, we should be a court jester. We should not be involved in politics. Pick it. Are you going to be involved in politics? Are you going to be involved in an entertainment world? So I made that decision after I married Paul that I'd give that up. Doesn't mean I'm not going to vote. Everybody knows where I am. The jig is up. Okay. The jig's up.
The chicks
I
up.
was chairman of National Republicans. I was on the Republican National Committee. I lean right. However, my Democrat friends respect the fact that I gave that up. I said, look, I'm in the business now. I get it. I'm out. I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm a court jester. So as a comedian, and I'm going to have a residency at Jimmy Kimmel Comedy Club in Vegas, I'm going to make fun of both sides.
Congratulations on that.
You know what I'm saying? Whoever's
Yeah.
funny is going to get it. The jokes are coming from both sides because now I am a performer. That's what I do. So anyway, so it's a political pundit before that, but now I have a podcast, Drinks with Dee Dee. So of course the wine works with that, Jim.
Yes, it
And
does, huh?
I love seeing and I love, and that's why I can tell that you're so talented. And I really appreciate knowing you now because a lot of hosts are really not very good. I say that all the time because Roger will tell you, that who we, mutually know and my manager, I have no filter. I'm a little bit like Roseanne in that way. I don't care if you don't like me. Don't care.
You're saying your piece, you're sharing who you are, right?
Yeah. So anyway, no filters. And Paul loved that about me as well. But Paul was lovely. Paul didn't need filters because everything about him was just lovely. I, on the other hand, is a little bit prickly. So, but he liked that. It was entertaining to him. But yeah, so hosting, comedy, the wine thing. But the wine thing was something, Jim, that Paul and I were working on after the cookbook because we loved food and drink. That was kind of our life. We loved food and drink. Paul more the food, me more the drink. So So we did the cookbook. It's a beautiful cookbook. And then, we wanted to do a wine. And, the wine business is not easy, Jim.
Not at all. No,
It's
no.
So, so we're able to connect with Lorimar, and I'm so happy you have a connect with them because they're great people. They do a lot of events there. They're culturally involved in the world, and part of, our proceeds will go to feeding the hungry. Because for me, I'm thinking food and drink goes together. Not everybody's going to want wine, but everybody needs food. So if there are people out there that don't need food, let's feed them.
Right.
Here we are at wineries talking about this show, talking about all these things. So we are very fortunate in our world because we're able to have enough food and drink, including lovely wine. So what can we do to help the world, help people eat? That's the basic of the basics. If you don't have enough food to eat, what are we doing here?
Absolutely.
So we are, we are going to give to charities that feed children and vets and just anyone. Anyone. There should not be any hungry people in America. Give me a break.
Isn't that yeah, literature is saying a percentage of all the sales go into various charities that feed and care for hungry children, adults, and military vets in need as well. And there are many.
Now, Paul was a vet. Paul was in the Army.
Yes.
And as a Republican, we're all about the vets. And I belong to the Hollywood American Legion. I'm on the auxiliary, and Paul belonged as well. So, so we're active in that cause. But, people have to eat. If people don't have enough food to eat, how sad is that? So let's at least go with the basics.
Exactly, which is amazing. And you mentioned also the cookbook, which was first. Tell us about Pinot, Pasta, and Parties, and what this book is all about, and what it was like writing this together.
Thank you, Jim, for bringing that up because boy, was that a labor of love. We
Yes.
so enjoyed doing that book. And the book is different than most cookbooks because usually the chapters are like meats, vegetables, starches, or whatever. They have those, they have the chapters kind of divvied up that way. And I thought, how boring. So our book is about every chapter is a full menu with a drink. Of course, that's my contribution. And then it's a
Yes.
menu with appetizers and then, the whole thing all the way down to desserts. And then every chapter is a theme. Like one chapter is Italian, another is like Americana. It's like to have a theme. So you could literally take this book and make it a TV show because every chapter is a theme and a menu and a dinner. So that was sort of the mindset. And in fact, before Paul died, we had someone interested in doing, a show about that because, you have dinner shows, people that, the Food Network, they have that. But then Paul died. So that was the end of that. And let me tell you another thing that a lot of people don't know, Jim. So Dick Van Dyke just won on the show, the singing show. Did you hear that?
Yes, one of my favorite people on this planet that is, I've met Carol Burnett, Florence Henderson, other fabulous people, but he's the one that I'm like, oh, I would love to. And I got this close to actually interviewing him for a PBS special when they were taking a look at his life. And, but he got called away because it was his 90th birthday and Disney World wanted him there because they were doing a big birthday party for Dick Van Dyke. So it was this close, but I love Dick Van Dyke. He's such a classy, funny guy.
So
He's Americana.
So do you know the show I'm talking about?
Tell our viewers so they can check it out.
Well, the Masked Singer. So Dick Van Dyke, and when is he, 92, 93?
I think he's like around 97 now.
Well, anyway,
Unreal, huh?
Yeah, unreal. So
God bless him.
so the thing about this, which it made me, I was happy for Dick Van Dyke, but I was a little sad for Paul, and here's why. So I met Dick Van Dyke at Cedar Sinai. So when you go to Cedar Sinai, which is kind of the big hospital that in UCLA in LA.
A lot of the
So
celebrities are
if
there.
a
Yeah.
celebrity goes in, they put them in the back room. Paul went to, I kid you not, Paul went to Cedar Sinai. We go to the back room, and there's Dick Van Dyke with his wife. So we go back there, the nicest freaking guy in the world, his wife, sweet. I mean, we just have a lovely time, and they're both going in the hospital. So it was kind of funny.
Isn't that
But you know, when
funny?
you get older, you just have to do maintenance or you have to do stuff
Yeah.
or whatever. But when you go to Cedar Sinai, they stick the celebrities in the back room. So there's Paul Sorvino, Dick Van Dyke, and the wives. And it's just, you know,
That sounds like a
love.
show right there.
But I have to say, so I see this morning about 6 o'clock in the morning that Dick Van Dyke was on The Masked Singer, and everybody went crazy. Well, right before Paul died, they invited him to The Masked Singer. They had
Oh,
booked him to be
oh
on
wow.
it. So,
Ah,
but he died, so he wasn't able to do it.
to
So it was a
do it
little bittersweet to see that. I was so happy for Dick Van
for
Dyke
Dick.
because we loved meeting him. He was such a sweet guy. I mean, my God, it was Dick Van Dyke.
Yeah.
But it was so see Dick Van Dyke and Paul, chatting and getting to know each other. It was really nice. But I kind of thought, I bet Dick Van Dyke took Paul's place because Paul couldn't do it. Because they wanted an older actor, probably, because I think that they kind of had not reached out to older actors. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? And I
right.
love that. So, in a way, I was so happy to see that. I was so happy to see that our friend that we met at Cedar Sinai was able to do that when Paul could not. So it was moving to see that. So I
If
wanted
it
to share that story because I had not shared that with anybody. You're the only one.
I appreciate your doing that. That's very kind of you. I think it was meant to be then, if not
Yeah.
Paul, then Dick Van Dyke, which I think is so beautiful, and I'm sure Dick was thinking about Paul at the time as well. And that's fantastic. Again, some of these iconic people just really have left a legacy, a body of work, but also they've touched our lives in such an extraordinary way. Dick Van Dyke, Mary Tyler Moore, Florence Henderson, Paul Sorvino. You know, it's unique because their way of being and thinking. Some of it's going away a little bit. Some of
It's
that
sad, Jim.
that
I
that
agree
old
with you. I think it's kind of sad.
that old Hollywood sort of
Yeah.
yeah, the glamour of it and all of that. Yeah. Well, Raquel Welch just passed yesterday, and there's that whole, you know,
Paul loved her too. Did it? Who
yeah.
did? What guy didn't? But I'll share this with you too, Jim. So Steven Spielberg, a few days ago when it was like an award ceremony, and he told Tom Cruise, he said, "You saved the industry." Well, Paul said that 7 months ago, maybe 8 months ago, I guess. Whenever Tom Cruise went, remember the pandemic, nobody was going to movies. Movie industry was dead. The theater was
Mhm.
dead as a doornail. Done. And then
Right.
with Top Gun, everybody started going back. So it was also bittersweet to hear Steven Spielberg give Tom Cruise the credit, which he deserves, for Top Gun, which I love, and I hope it wins the award for Best Picture. As a Republican, I'm all for the patriotic movie, and it was a great movie. So Steven Spielberg said, you saved the industry, and Paul said that 7 months ago before he died, because he said,
Mm.
wow, and he and Tom Cruise did a movie together, The Firm. They did a scene together. But Paul was really happy about it. He goes, wow, you know what? Through his commitment, he saved the movie industry. And Paul was really worried about that because he felt like Hollywood was dying. He felt like, it wasn't like it used to be. It wasn't vibrant. It was negative. So that was something that with Steven Spielberg saying it, and Paul had said it like long before that. And I'm sure others thought about it, but Paul was very concerned about Hollywood and about as we're talking about, it's a little sad that old Hollywood has kind of gone away, or it's not like it used to be. He felt that sadness as well. He felt like it was just not like it used to be. And he wanted the golden Hollywood because it's such a wonderful industry. It was such a wonderful, and it's just different now. It's like the wild, wild west. There are so many, you know, it's a double-edged sword because streaming is wonderful, but it does change things, don't you think, Jim? It's a different
You,
world.
I really hope that physical, and I've seen them disappear, especially during the pandemic, but I really hope that the physical movie theaters don't go away, because there's just something about going in. There's the experience, getting out of your house. It's a movie
Mhm.
theater. Sure, the popcorn's $10. It's overpriced, all the rest. But still, you get in there and, you get in your plush seat, and it's an experience. It's a communal thing. So when I use this reference, when we
I'm
see the Titanic sinking,
scared of
we
now. They don't
all
want that.
feel the same thing at the same time. We feel that loss when the Titanic is sinking into the ocean. So it's a place to bring us all together through laughter, through experiences of history, romantic comedies, dramas, thrillers, whatever it is. And then you leave the theater and talk about it at work the next day. Did you see that movie? Oh my God. And you hear people's reactions, and it's on the big screen. The audio is great. The size of
I
the
agree with
screen,
you 100%.
it's all like, I don't want to watch everything on a screen this
I
small. I'll be like, what? I'm going to watch the Titanic sink on something like this. I can't even see the letters. How do I know it's the Titanic? I can't even read the word. It's just,
It's a schooner. It's a dinghy. It might as well be a
a
dinghy
dinghy, right? It's a dinghy
on the
now.
phone. That's how big it is. I
Yeah.
agree. And we need to bring back that golden Hollywood. Look, I love TCM. I love the old school stuff. I'm hoping we can do like the TCM wine club, going back to the wine thing. Because after being married to Paul, he really introduced me to old school Hollywood the way it should be. Like what you're talking about, like the experience in the movie theater, not streaming on your phone with, you know, dingy. We need
People just looking at their phone going like this all
ding-
day. So dismissive. Everything's so dismissive. You mean to tell me there's nothing there that you like? It's just this all day long?
yeah, they don't know the golden Hollywood experience, and it's sad because it's so precious and so amazing. And that was something Paul, again going back to the Tom Cruise thing, and he's like, "Wow, I'm glad that at least people are going back to theaters because after the pandemic, I mean, as I told you before, we went on air that we were in New York and LA, but nothing was open during the pandemic, and we wanted to have a normal life, so we bought a place in Madison, Indiana, right on the river, so we could have a life where things were open, where the world was open. In the major cities, you know how it is. You're in New York, everything was closed down. You were eating in pods on the sidewalk. I wanted a real life. So we bought a place on the river in Indiana, and it was a real life. And then, we went back to New York for work in LA or whatever, but it was good to have a place in the Midwest where everything was open. It was open.
So you had, like you said, it's your hideaway. It was a place to get away from the busyness of New York, where Paul's originally from, the whole LA Hollywood thing where all the production's done, and come sort of.
We had to be there, but we could get away to our sanctuary in Indiana, right on the Ohio River. Our backyard is the Ohio River in Kentucky.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's there and no crime, and you don't have to lock your doors, and so it was nice. We could, frankly, we weren't here a lot with Paul.
Yeah.
But whenever the pandemic hit, we did escape to New York because how, look, you're in New York, you know how it was during the pandemic. It was not fun.
New York, yeah, they had a tough time. The whole Northeast in the beginning, right? Exactly. And then it just spread across the country on so many different levels. I know. Um, let's talk about the comedy. How did the comedy start for you? How did you get into, do you have a lot of funny people in your family in Indiana? How did the comedic talent get noticed?
Well, even with whenever I did political commentary, they would call me in when something was boring. They said, call her. They wouldn't even get me on in. They said, call her. because I would like shake it up, whether you liked it or not. You may love me or hate me, but I would mix it up and make it interesting. I would not let it be boring. I'm like, what are you talking about? You're so freaking boring. It is. I mean, because a lot of the political commentary, it's all talking points. I never did
It's
that.
very dry. It's very, yeah. Now let's
Um,
bring in our expert for 20 minutes to deduce what we actually just watched
well, not
live.
expert, but like the shaker upper.
You're the
You know,
shaker upper.
not
Yes.
exactly the expert, but at least I'm going to shake up the loser, boring people on both sides. I'm like, what are you talking about? This is so stupid and boring. And they would bring me in to do that. Was kind of like I don't know what you'd call me, but yeah, but I would just shake it up where it at least was not boring. I can't say, I don't know, Jim, but look, you are such a great host. And look, you can ask anybody who knows me. I don't lie and I don't filter. And if I don't like you, I say that. I said, you suck. And I would just turn it off and get out of here. I mean, I would just turn you off. I said, you suck. Bye bye. But you are a lovely host. You're really smart. You're really pleasant and nice. And you really do a great job. So thank you for that. And thank you for having me. What I
Ah,
would do, I would come in as the stink bomb and just shake it all up. Oh, hell. You know what I mean? So I think just bring me in just to shake it
now,
up.
now,
And boring.
where does that energy and that passion come from? Because a lot of times when you think of the Midwest, you think of much more quieter, subdued, just
Darn,
family
you ever been
values.
to
So
Kentucky?
where for you does that energy and that fire come from, Dee Dee? Where does that
Have
come
you ever
from?
been to Eastern Kentucky?
Actually, no, that's one place I haven't been to yet. Eastern.
Now, okay, Braveheart. So have you seen Braveheart?
Sure, yeah.
Give you a very quick history lesson. So the Scott Irish all migrated to Eastern Kentucky. They are all crazy Okay, they're all crazy people. I stopped myself just in time. So they're all
They're
crazy.
funky.
People are all Braveheart Scots. If you know the Scots, they're crazy in a bar fight. They're going to win. Those are my people. They are nuts. They're crazy, but fun, fun, fun. Okay, so that's the migration. Scotland to Northern Ireland to Eastern Kentucky. That's me. I'm Braveheart. I'm the fun one. I'm the one ready for the bar fight. That's the way it's going to work. And I'm the one telling the jokes, cracking the jokes. That's the way it is. So that I have a history degree from Hanover College. So I know my lineage. And so that is why I am always telling the jokes, cracking the jokes, starting the fights, ending the bar fights, kicking them in the BALLS, because I don't know how far I can go here. And Paul loved that. He said, oh my gosh, you are just so funny. And just so you know, Paul always said, look, I know you're taking care of me and you're my wife. And I feel bad because I feel like I'm holding you back. Can you imagine a man like Paul Sorvino telling his wife, I feel bad because I'm holding you back? Are you kidding me?
Mm,
I said, honey, I love you. No, never ever think that. But he
that's a
always
wonderful sign of respect he had for you, which is beautiful.
Paul Sorvino would say that to me. I said, it's such an honor to be your wife, and I love you every minute of every day. Don't ever think that. But he always did. He always said, I know you'd have your own show by now if not for me. I'm just saying that's the kind of man my husband was. And that's why every minute until the end, I was very happy to be his wife. I was very happy to give up anything I was doing. So, anyway, so for the last 6, 7 months, I've been in deep mourning
Oh
because
yeah.
I loved him so much. And in fact, it's still hard. I cry every day. Every day.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. Of course.
So
It's still
he's
fresh.
still with,
It's not even a year yet, right? Yeah. No.
but
Yeah.
he would not be happy if I did not move forward. And if I stayed in bed for the next 6 months and gave it a full year and I didn't move forward with the wine or my comedy world, but it's not easy because in a way I feel guilt because it's like, well, I shouldn't be doing this yet. Well, when do I do it? Death is the hardest part of life.
Yes. Yes. And haven't we seen a lot of it lately in recent
Yeah.
years? It's been really extraordinary.
And Jim, remember Ray Liotta died right before Paul.
Yes.
That
Yes.
hard on Paul. And you know what? People were kind of asses about it. Like, well, we didn't think it'd be Ray. I'm like, oh, well, thank you very much for thinking you thought it would be Paul. But
Right,
it
right.
was Paul. So, oh, it's just so difficult and so poignant. But, Paul took it very hard. And I will share with you, at the time we would keep Paul's illness, really out of the limelight because
Yeah.
Paul was a proud man and he didn't want people feeling bad for him. And it wasn't that he felt ashamed that he was sick. He just didn't want people to feel bad for him. That's the way he was. He was so generous. So we people didn't know he was sick. They just didn't know. Nobody knew. And that's why the Masked Singer was calling. That's why uh Godfather of Harlem was calling, and Paul was getting all these job offers. And I would just say, well, we can't do it right now, but call us next season, hoping Paul would get better. But Paul never wanted anybody to feel bad for him because he was a strong man. And other celebrities, they would say, I'm sick and this is what's going on. No, no. As an Italian man, proud man, Paul's like, no, I don't want anyone feeling bad. So nobody knew. Nobody. And so when Ray died, and Paul was in the hospital at the time. He was in the last year of Paul's life. We were in Jacksonville. Paul did a small movie in Jacksonville. We did it together. So I made the decision that I thought Paul should stay there because Mayo Clinic was right there. And Mayo Clinic is like number one hospital in the country. So, we stayed there. So if Paul needed help, or if he needed care, we were right there. So I made the decision to stay in Florida for the last year of his life. And it really was lovely and it was good. And they did a wonderful job with Paul. And I think it was as good as it could be. So we didn't see the light of day in New York, Indiana, or LA the last year of Paul's life. We were in Jacksonville, Florida.
Mm, that's amazing. Yeah, really. But you were there. You were there with him through it all, through the thick and thin, and I'm sure he really loved you for that, you know? You were there right by his side through it all.
Did and really we try to make every day happy. There was never a day that he was not happy because I always made sure, and he did. And we go by the pool at the hotel where we stayed and made it Club Med. And, Paul would anywhere Paul was, everybody left him and he would hold court. So he did have a good last year. But I wanted everyone to know that, they wanted him Godfather of Harlem, and he was getting asked jobs left and right. So he was in high demand until the very end.
Absolutely, yes. On every level you can think of. He left such an indelible mark, you know what I mean? He was such a strong figure on so many different levels. Really incredible. So the fact that you guys, were thinking about the wine and that you took
Hmm.
the ball and ran with it, I think is a absolutely beautiful thing. Dee Dee, tell us about this and congratulations on it.
Well, the wine is so exciting. I'm so happy about it. So thank you so much, Jim, for focusing on that because I think it's something, it's a legacy for Paul and it's a legacy for, love, the love of life, the love of wine, the love of enjoyment. And we drank wine like every day. I mean, it was like happy hour came around. Well, what bottle of wine are we going to pull out? Well, now it would be Sorvino Vino. So it's a great tribute to him. It's a beautiful wine. As you know, you're familiar with Lorimar, so they don't mess around. I mean, they win awards. They're you know, Lorimar, they're the hoity-toity wine people. I mean, they're like wine snobs in a good way, meaning that, it's not $2 Chuck. Nothing against $2 Chuck. That's not what it
Two
is. I
buck
mean,
chuck.
it's higher. We've all been there, right? I mean, we've all had the cheap wine. We were growing up, or we didn't have the money. We're going to drink what we can get.
You
But
mean out of the
Sorvino,
box?
but Sorvino Vino and Lorimar is high end and lovely, and I'm just so glad that we can have this beautiful bottle, this beautiful label to commemorate Paul Sorvino. and his love for wine and love for his wife and love for life, because I just am very, very happy to move forward with this, because I have to tell you, it wasn't easy. Part of me felt like, oh, I don't think I think maybe I just can't even go forward with this. But I knew Paul would want that because we had started that, a year and a half, 2 years, 3 years ago, actually. We always wanted a wine. And then it worked out with Lorimar. And, I believe in fate. I believe in energy. I believe in good thoughts.
Hmm.
So I think that this wine, because we also give to the charities of people who are hungry, we think that if we can sell a line, excuse me, if we can sell a wine, we can certainly give to people who don't have enough money to eat. You know what I mean? Food and drink go together. Food and drink is love. Paul thought food is love. So when you buy the wine, that's going to help people have, meals on their table too. Because look, we are very fortunate people if we're able to buy a bottle of wine and go to a winery, have a great time. We are very fortunate people, but some people, they don't have what we have. So let's give them a little money so they can eat. And then hopefully, like, bring themselves up and maybe have a better life, but let's give them the basics. We are better than the basics. We're able to enjoy, go to Lorimar, have wine. I mean, have you come out and host a show, Jim? But it feels good to be able to get a portion of that to people who don't have enough money to eat. That feels good. Hey, it starts
That's
with the grapes, right?
yes, it does. It really, really
Grapes start
does.
with grapes, turning in the wine. And look, life is short. I know that now more than ever because Paul just died. And so let's do what we need to do. Let's make life good. Let's make life happy and feed people, give them wine, celebrate, do what we can to help people, do what we can to have a good life, do what we can to laugh. I love to tell jokes and make people laugh. And I'm so happy I'm going to have a residency at the Jimmy Kimmel Comedy Club. And Jim, may I give my social media? It's pretty easy. It's pretty much just Dee Dee Sorvino. May
Right,
I do that?
exactly.
Do you mind?
Yeah, Dee Dee Sorvino, Facebook, Instagram, Dee Dee Sorvino, Twitter,
Yeah.
DD GOP.
Well, that's it. That is at Twitter, which now with Elon Musk, I get a lot more followers. It's amazing. I don't know how that happened.
And
Elon gave me a hell of a lot more followers. But yeah, the others are Dee Dee Sorvino, and I would love for you to follow me, and I won't promote the wine. And now Jim Masters, my new friend. And Jim, I really hope you can come out and host the Sorvino Vino Night. I'm going to tell Roger, and I'm going to tell the folks at Temecula that I would like that. I'd love for you to come out and do that. If you would, it'd be an honor.
that would be fantastic. I'd love to do that. That would be yeah, an honor on my end as well. Absolutely, and a pleasure. I appreciate your, even thinking of that. Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's
Yeah.
put
I
that
would love.
together.
You're perfect for it. You're a perfect host. You're lovely, and and you think about every detail, which a lot of people. I don't know. I mean, I think the art of hosting. I think you really do go back to Johnny Carson, don't you? If you, I mean, I don't know who your favorite host is, but I would kind of make you akin to Johnny Carson.
Some of my favorites have always been Regis, who I had an opportunity of knowing. Regis Philbin, Dick Clark. You could
Oh
put
my
him
God.
at, you could put Dick Clark in anything and he
Yeah,
could
I
host
love
it.
Dick Clark. Of course, I love
Dick
Dick Clark.
Clark, Merv Griffin, Mike Douglas, let's see, John Davidson, who was a guest on our show twice, and Johnny Carson, of course, and Dick Cavett with his wonderful conversations. And
Yeah, but you're going old school, and the old school hosts are better.
you
Sorry.
know who also has an old school quality to him in a way is Ryan Seacrest. Ryan Seacrest has this old school quality because he was under the tutelage of Dick Clark. Dick Clark sort of took Ryan Seacrest
No,
under his
that what
wing,
did he do for Ryan?
and now he's leaving
I
Ryan
s-
and Kelly. He made that announcement. He's leaving the show. He hosts American Idol and all, but so yeah, Bob Barker. Price is Right. I mean, come on. Talk about
I love when he
legend.
beat the hell out of Happy Gilmore. Wasn't that a funny part in the movie? Oh my
That was
God, one
very
of the
funny.
funniest movie. I love the movie Happy Gilmore. It's so funny. And
Oh,
then when Bob
yes.
Barker beats the crap out of Happy Gilmore, it's so
Yeah.
funny.
Some of those game show hosts, the Pat Sajaks and some of the others, Alex Trebek, some of the others over the years are also have been talented hosts
What
because
you
they're,
do, you know what? I always tell Roger, and I'm sorry, folks. I keep referring to my manager, who Jim knows, and he's a great guy, and he's been in Hollywood for a long time, but he's very old school. So
yes,
I think right, he's very old school as well, and he
which is a
represented Bob
good thing. Yeah.
Barker and all these old people.
Yes, he did. I know.
And I love that. I love that. I love the old school, because you meant everybody you mentioned it's like that old school style, and that is why I thought you were like that as well. And I think that's better. I think old school is better for hosting. Sorry, but that's just what I think. So I think
No,
you're
it's
doing it right.
people say that all the time, sort of an old school quality with a modern twist and a modern vibe of today. And it was guests that said, I'm bringing back the lost art of conversation.
Yeah,
That's why I don't even call these interviews. I
well,
call them
I'm not the first one
conversations.
who said it, but I'm glad everybody agrees.
That's exactly what they've been saying. So congratulations on the wine. I mean, that's very exciting. And I want people to know that you had mentioned too, which is I think really important as well, a perfect Cabernet Sauvignon blend that is reminiscent of the red wine that you and Paul enjoyed throughout the years. And news of the wine brand has actually brought a lot of interest, especially from wine enthusiasts as well, right?
Yes. Wine is very popular. Are you surprised, Jim?
People are getting very
Wine,
educated about it.
wine is big. And always big. So people are curious. And this is a big cab. It is. It's a big cab. It's not like for the, look, and I think after this we'll do a white wine. I think we'll do a sparkling. But to begin with, we needed to go old school Paul Sorvino, big, bold, red, no nonsense. It ain't a prosecco, right? It red, bold, and it's a big, beautiful bottle. But I think we'll do a white, and then we'll do a sparkling as well. But this is the true Paul Sorvino wine. This is what we would do. Look, we would go to the grocery, and then the paparazzi would be there. It'd be so ridiculous, but we would go in Beverly Hills, and we'd spend like $900, and most of that was wine. I'm telling you, the wine bill, because we would drink wine and good wine every day. We would have wine every day. We were very serious about the wine. It was not a joke. It was like a daily ritual. What wine are we pulling out, darling? What wine do
Yeah.
we drink?
Mm.
And it was always red, and it was always bold and smooth. So that is what this wine is. So for me, it is really a lovely tribute to Paul. And it's something that we were working on right before he died, and before like a year. So do you think I'm not going to fulfill his legacy and memory and what he wanted? And you know what? Wine is love, food is love, and people need to enjoy life, and wine helps with that. And it's like a lot of people are like, well, maybe alcohol's not a good thing. I think it's a great thing. I make no bones about it. I think if you can have a wine and enjoy life, more power to you. And the people that live the longest are in Italy, and they're drinking wine every damn day. How about that? People who live over 100, more of the centenarians are in Italy drinking wine every damn day. So what are you going to say about that? If you're
They're not drinking soda.
I think they got the right idea, don't you, Jim?
Yes, that whole Mediterranean way. Even the diet is much better than sort of the American diet for sure. Absolutely, yeah.
Well, eating Twinkies and drinking
The
Big Red.
Twinkie.
I mean, they're having red wine and they're eating fish for sure.
I wanted to let folks know that the guest we had on was Mark Manfield, of course, founder and owner of the award-winning Lorimar Winery and Vineyards. And he said that we are honored to collaborate with Dee Dee Sorvino and produce this Cabernet. Sorvino Vino will be a great addition to your wine collection or to enjoy with friends. Very nice words from Mark, huh?
Mark's great. Look, what I love about Lorimar and Mark, I went to his house and we were talking about, at that point in time, I'm still crying at the drop of a hat, right? Drop of, because I still do. I'm still so sad. I just miss
Of
Paul.
course. Yeah.
So it's hard, but it's also cathartic because it's like this was our project and we're moving forward with it. And Mark was there, and I went to his house. He goes, "Look, I want to do this for you. I want to make this work." So he is a lovely man, and the winery is unbelievable. Okay, so Jim, did you actually go to the winery?
Haven't been there yet. No, it was all done virtual. He came
Oh my
on
God,
virtual
you need to come and host. Tell
because
Mark. I'm going to tell
Temecula
him.
is so
You,
beautiful.
okay,
Yeah,
Jim, you are coming to host the Sorvino Vino night. Okay, tell Mark I said you're coming
absolutely.
to host. We'll tell
Yeah.
her. And look, Mark is great. And what I love about Lorimar is they're about culture and music and comedy and food. They're about the whole thing. So it's really a beautiful friendship,
Oh, sure.
a great union. And I really want you to be part of our family. So I think you need to come out and host the Sorvino Vino night.
I've hosted a lot of wine events and wine television presentations for PBS over the years as well.
Well, let's do
So
it.
very familiar with it. Absolutely. That sounds fantastic.
Yeah,
That
it'll be wonderful. Life is short, so you got to celebrate it. You got to celebrate.
you
And
are
this
so right.
just a great wine, great people, great life. I mean, come on, how can you go wrong here? It's all positive, right?
You know what you said too, which I think is really cool. The wine pairs perfectly with any Paul Sorvino movie.
It
Lovers of
does.
movies and wine will enjoy the wine, right?
Well, I have to tell you that the first time Paul popped up on the TV, I cried hysterically. I was just happy to see. It's tough when you are a widow of a movie star because he never goes away. That's really lovely, but it's also every time you see him, it's bittersweet, right? It's poignant. So the first time it happened, I just cried. I mean, because it was Goodfellas, because it's on all the time. But I love that because I'm like, I get to see my sweetheart. I get to see my man. There's my Paul. There's my sweetheart. You know, I miss him all the time.
Of course, yeah. Of
So when he
course.
comes on screen like that, and we're able to sell the wine and make people enjoy the movies and the wine, I mean, it's a nice thing, but it's still, you know, I
He
never
was the love
understood
of your life.
the
Yeah.
love of my life. But this wine was exactly what he loved. And, we'll do the movie night. And anytime we can honor him, I'm happy because what a wonderful man. They broke the mold with Paul. They did. Old school, respectful of women, respectful of everybody, frankly. I mean, this was a sweetheart. He played the tough guy, but I have to tell you, Paul was the sweetest man ever. Very caring and super duper smart. He played the piano, he sang, he sculpted, he painted, he was on Broadway, TV, movies. The man did it all. He just did it all. What a sweet, sweet, wonderful man. He'll be forever missed. And I miss him every day. I always will.
Of course, yeah. Of course, yeah. When you have a loving relationship like that with somebody in your life, but good thing that you had it. You know what I mean? Could you imagine
Yes,
having gone through life and not have had that loving experience with each other?
that's
Even though you would
that's
both want it.
exactly, Jim.
Yeah,
Thank you
yeah,
for bringing that up because that's a way to look at it. Because
yes.
I had a wonderful. life with him.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
mean, and so, you know, but
And you're carrying on his legacy through this work that's actually helping those who are disenfranchised and those who are downtrodden who need help. You're carrying on the legacy, celebrating his life, still doing what you're doing in your fabulous career, and being Dee Dee, but also celebrating and paying respect and homage to the legacy and life of Paul, who just happened to be your husband and your partner in life and your loved one. But you're, doing such a beautiful thing that fans of Paul, I'm sure, love, but just something that's coming from your own heart and soul, which a lot of people don't always do. And I think that's a beautiful thing.
thank you. It's just, you know, it's a tough balance. It's tough because I'm still in deep mourning. And then we try to do this thing, which is a celebration for Paul, you know, the wine, and then deal with Mark Manfield, who's really been great. You know, it's the right thing to do, but I'm telling you, I think grief is the hardest part of life, or it's been my hardest part. But you have to move forward. And with Paul's memory and what he wouldn't want me to just stay in bed all day like I want to do and just be sad and watch TCM all day. I mean, that's not going to do anybody any good. So, you know, we'll make wine and do comedy and just celebrate his legacy and make it all work. But it is hard. It is tough.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I miss him all the time.
Yeah, of course, absolutely. And those are memories that are strong and powerful and make up who you are. The fact that you feel it so deeply in such a beautiful way, and that you're sharing it so openly in such a raw form, I think, is a testament to who you are as a person, even underneath all of the comedy and the performance, the real essence of who Dee Dee really is, wearing her heart on her sleeve, really caring and compassionate, which rises to the surface as it is right now on our show. So you can have the wine, everybody, and you can binge watch the Paul Sorvino movies. You can binge watch the Jim Masters Show series. You're talking top of the top with these types of things to binge, and enjoy the wine. What else is coming up for you? You mentioned the residency in Vegas, which is congratulations on that. That is well
Thank
earned.
Yeah, you know, look, Jimmy Kimmel, I'm a big fan of. You
Yeah,
know,
he's funny.
I think he's the funniest. I think he's the best of the best in the late night. So I'm a huge fan of his. So it was such an honor. You know, and look,
And he's sort of old school in his way too.
yeah, I really like him. You know, he's from Brooklyn. That's where Paul was from. So I just appreciate his humor. I really like him. I like him the best of late night. So to be able to be a headliner at his comedy club in Vegas, I am just so thrilled with that. I feel like it's just really, really I'm just very fortunate and I appreciate that very much. So I feel like Paul is with me in that because he always said, Jim, he said, Dee Dee, you are a natural born comedian. You just are. I mean, you always like, you know, just make everything work. I said, so you need to follow that. And when he was failing, you know, he said that. He goes, look, I really want you to follow that. So this is on Potter Paul's legacy too, me doing the comedy, because he's the one who said, you are a natural born comedian. Just do it.
Just
Do it
do
and
it.
do it big. So I decided I'm not going to do the politics. I'm going to do comedy and performing or whatever. Because, you know, the acting and the comedy, but, you know, you know, I mean, look, Jim, you never know where life's going to take you in the showbiz because you can have the most talented person in the world and they don't make it because for whom whatever reason, you know, they're not lucky or they just stop or they're in the wrong place at the wrong time. So it's a crapshoot, right? But there is something exciting about that. I embrace that. I'm like, okay, let's just go with it. Let's just go for it. Because Paul told me, he said, you are a natural born comedian. You need to go for it, do it, when something happens, and it will, he said, you need to move forward. My sweet Paul always knew what I needed to do. He always knew. He told me that our whole marriage, he said, when something happens to me, because he knew that when we were together, he was the biggest guy in the room. What are you going to do? And I was happy about that. But he said, at the end, when he knew that he didn't have a lot of time left, he said, you move forward and you move forward in comedy. That is your niche. And you know what? I think Paul Sorvino knew what he was talking about. Whether I know it or not, I trust that he knew it because he was so smart in the industry, and so loving and so giving. But he just always said, you're either a host or a comic or both. So that was kind of his final words to me on my career. And I have to tell you, Paul was really a happy man at the end. He felt like he had a great career. He felt at peace. He felt, and actually, believe it or not, this is the crazy thing. The day he died, he was about to be discharged to go um, to rehab because he was going to rehab. But then he had this condition that happened very quickly. So the good news about Paul, because a lot of people when they die, they really suffer. Paul did not suffer. He went quickly and he kind of went with a smile on his face. He was okay. And that's the way Paul Sorvino should go. He should go in his own way. And the folks at Mayo Clinic down in Jacksonville, boy, what a great group. Mayo Clinic down in Jacksonville. I love those people. Paul had the most beautiful room, the most beautiful staff. He went out the right way. I feel so sorry for these people during COVID that went out and nobody was there and, all these terrible
Yeah.
stories. That
Hmm.
did not happen with Paul. He went out his way. He was good and he deserved it. Jim, he deserved it. What a sweet, wonderful, talented man that left a legacy on this earth that thankfully we'll always have. We will always have those 200 movies that Paul Sorvino was in. And won't be able to see Goodfellas because it's on every day, all day. Well, Goodfellas is on somewhere. It's
And
it's
he
on
was in Star
somewhere,
Trek, The Next Generation, and
right?
Redemption, and Cosmos, and so many things, right?
Money Talks,
Yes.
Rocketeer. I mean,
Unbelievable.
all these and Romeo and Juliet with Leonardo DiCaprio.
He was in
I
that
mean,
as
Paul
well.
was in
Yeah.
like 200 movies. His legacy is huge. So I have to say, I'm so happy that he pops up on TV and I can be with my Paul. And so can everyone else. They can enjoy his work. They loved him on Law and Order. He
One
had
of
a
Kathleen in New York City said loved when he was in the Perry Mason, the mystery movies.
oh, right. Yeah, that was really great. That was really great. And he did so many wonderful roles. And at the end when they would have when they would want him to do a cameo, I'd say, honey, it doesn't matter how big it is. I said, if you're doing a cameo, you're a legend. Cameos don't go to people that working actors. Cameos don't go to working actors. They go to legends.
They go
So
to
that's not a
legends.
bad thing. It's
That
okay.
incredible. That's
And
beautiful.
and being asked to be on The Masked Singer, whenever I saw Dick Van Dyke, I'm like, wow, I think that was Paul. I think that would have been Paul. And I mean, but not taking away from Dick Van Dyke, because what a legend he is, and what a nice man. When we met him, like I told you at the hospital, I'm telling you, Jim, the sweetest man, just like Paul. They were two peas in a pod.
So are
He's
you. You're a sweetheart too. You really are. People may be seeing you for the first time and saying, wow, Paul Sorvino's wife, we expected her probably, she would just be very stoic, and you're a sweetheart. You're just, you're funny, and you're approachable, and you're affable, and you're, enthusiastic and passionate, and you wear your heart on your sleeve. I think that's very refreshing.
Oh, well, I appreciate you saying that, Jim. Not everyone would say I'm a sweetheart, that's for sure. But I am absolutely unfiltered and real. I don't like fake. you know what, Jim? Don't you
There's
hate
so much of it out there. Yeah.
I hate fake. No, I will tell you, even my enemies will say, well, she ain't fake. No doubt about it. So thank you for that. But yeah, when I talk about Paul, it is 1,000% love. I miss him like crazy. And we were just so happy. But I'm moving forward because that's what you do. What are you gonna do? Just like, be in bed every day and not do anything. So
Right.
you move
Yeah.
forward, and I feel his spirit with me every day. I really do. I feel him with me. So I'm gonna do comedy and I'm gonna do my thing and and meet more people like you because if you meet the bad people, you just get rid of them, right? You just stick with the good ones.
You have to, they always say that, the energy you put out is what comes your way. So if you put out
That's
positive
right.
energy, you get positive coming your way. And you have to sometimes cleanse the negativity and the toxicity out from the system. We all have to do that from time to time.
Well, some people can't help it. I feel sorry for them. There are people that are toxic and they absolutely can't help it. And I try to help them. A lot of times I will get involved if they say, you're so fun, you're so great, but then they are so unhappy and so miserable. So I try to help them come out of it. Some people will, some people won't. Some people just will stay in that toxic state. But some people, you know what, Jim, and I bet you have experienced this as well. There's something very fulfilling whenever you pull people out of that toxic state. And I've been able to do it. And I love doing that. I love to help people. Many times people have said, nobody will help me. You've done that and nobody will do that. Don't you like doing that with people? Some
Absolutely.
people
Yeah.
you cannot help, but others you pull them out of that and they're on their way. And how wonderful is that?
I've often said when you lift, I know with me, when I lift others up, I'm often lifted myself.
Of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah. Goes full
And
circle, right?
yes, it is. And I have tried to do that many times. Like, and people say, nobody's ever helped me like that, or nobody's tried to, in the show business, that's the way it is. Most people will not help you, but I always try to help my friends. I always try to help people. And even people I don't know that well, but I feel like they really are trying hard. I'll try to help them do whatever. And I feel like you're the same way. And isn't it fulfilling and nice whenever they're like, wow, no one's ever helped me but you, but now I'm going to move forward with my career.
Exactly right.
It's just
Exactly
that
right.
kind of career where people, I don't know, it's just most people don't want to reach out and help them. And Paul was the same way. Paul was really lovely. He would always try to help people. And, in Hollywood, I mean, most people don't want to help anybody else. They're just out for themselves. It's not everybody, but you get a lot of that. So I will always try, and I'm like just a small player. Paul was a big player. I'm a small player, but I do try to help people when I can. And if they're my friends, I'm going to do whatever. And I think in the world and in life, that's really important. And it's
It
really
really is.
fulfilling. And I never one time have I ever regretted doing that, trying to be helpful, especially in Hollywood, because everybody says nobody will help me. Thank you for your help, even if it's a small step, because everybody's, I don't want to say everybody, but 99%. Don't you find that, Jim, that people say nobody will help me? I think that's sad, but I think it's incredibly prevalent in showbiz.
In the
That's why
entertainment
in
world.
Indiana, as much as I can be, because in Indiana, everybody will help you out. Everybody's lovely. It's just the way it is.
Do they still stop by with a bunk cake too?
Of course. No, more than that. I mean, I know here,
They still have the Tupperware parties too.
well, maybe not
Maybe
Tupperware,
not the Tupperware.
but I will tell you that anytime, if we ever needed anything, it was
Yeah.
like a long line of people to help Paul. They loved Paul and they
Yeah.
were respectful of him. It was like, it was good.
That's cool.
Those movies whenever they go to the Midwest and they love it, like Doc Hollywood. Remember that movie with Michael J. Fox, Doc Hollywood?
Oh yeah.
Did you ever see that?
Yes, absolutely.
It's funny because those movies really are true.
That's what it's like.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
like because they're real people and they were all lovely to Paul, and Paul loved Madison, Indiana. He just loved it because it was Americana. And remember, Paul lived everywhere. You know, he was from Brooklyn and lived in New York. We loved New York. New York was great. LA, we never loved it. You know, LA is a different world. Just a different type of place. But you know, but they all loved Paul because Paul was a movie star. But if you're a movie star in LA, you're doing okay, right?
Yeah, to be able to afford the rent, I would imagine.
Right, right. So anyway, but I never warmed to LA. I never warmed to it. It was not for me because I don't
I
like
think people have said something like the Midwest and the East Coast, the sensibilities are more in line
yes.
than the East Coast and the West Coast, or the Midwest and the West Coast. A lot of people, Midwest and East Coast, like you say, the Americana, the roots, where things began, sort of a realness and authenticity, perhaps. There's something where the Midwest and the East Coast
Yes.
sort of blend nicely. Not for everybody, of course, it's generic, but in many ways, just
No,
there's a sensibility that, yeah. Yeah.
so the Midwest and the East Coast, I mean, we're real. It's real. And I don't get the West. I have to just tell you, I don't get the West Coast. Now I get along with them. They think I'm fun and entertaining and funny. So I get along with them, but I don't get them. I
It's just,
Hollywood's not my niche. I mean, I love the business. I think it's interesting to make TV, to create movies, but the people I don't get. You know, and I tell them this. I said, look, I don't understand what you're saying. Thank you. We're New Yorkers. They're like in your face going, ah, you know, what the fuck? This is that. Oh, sorry for the language. But what, you know, I mean, in New York, I understand a New Yorker. I do. I get that. And a Midwesterner, you know, they're sweet people and they just tell you what's on their mind. But LA, yeah, I don't get that.
we'll do lunch, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do lunch. And you know, they never call you for lunch, do they?
I had heard because they bumped into somebody larger who can
Right.
help them more. So they'll go to lunch with that one and they forgot about you.
Right.
A couple
Right.
people in the industry told me that. I've never experienced it yet, but I've heard that here and there. Not
You know,
everywhere,
but
but
the thing is, Jim, is, you know, and you would be too if you were hanging out in LA, everybody would love you. I mean, you know, you've got like a star quality about you, so you would be fine there. You know, I've never had a problem. People always like me there, but I just never warmed to that. I never warmed to all of that scene. You know, you know, it's kind of funny, but I just, you know, look, I'm okay in LA, but you know, I prefer the East Coast and the Midwest, and even the South. The South's lovely too. I mean, how can you not like the South? How can you not like the South? I mean, I mean, the West is my hardest place to deal with, even though I get along with everybody there, and they all think I'm funny and entertaining. But I don't. I think if the you know what hits the fan, they're all scattering, right, Jim? They're all scattering. Where if you're in the Midwest, you don't even have to be from my hometown. If I bring you in, I said, well, this is our friend now. Everybody's going to treat you like family. In LA, they're never going to do that. You know what I mean by that?
yes, yeah,
Forget it.
right. It's a different way of right. It's a different way of thinking on many levels.
But New Yorkers are like that too. New Yorkers are good people. In my
And
opinion, overall, New Yorkers are
New
they're
York and New England, Boston and all in through there too. Yeah, the East Coast. You know who's here that stops by our show? Mr. George Burns is in the house. Look at that,
oh,
huh? My aunt collected dolls, serious dolls. She spent
yeah.
thousands on dolls and had a whole room dedicated to dolls. And this got passed down to me. He's with his cigar and his red hanky. He
Oh,
hangs
cool.
he hangs down below with his martini, but now he's going to have his Cabernet coming from Sorvino.
Oh, well,
And there he is. And he's absolutely loving
George
the
Burns.
conversation from one comedian to the other.
Paul and I loved the old time comedians. He loved him even more than I did, like a George Byrne, Gracie thing. Paul,
Yeah.
that was the funniest damn thing ever. He just thought that was the
I
best.
tell you, it really, really
Now,
was.
so Jim, do you like those, like, I call them stilted jokes? Do you like that kind of thing? Like George Burns and like
Uh,
those
uh,
old,
oh, you mean like "Take My Wife, Please" and all of that, or sort of that? You
you
know
know,
who
you know what? Like you can't
I
say
loved
wrong
Rodney
because Paul
Dangerfield.
loved it. Paul loved it. I hated it. So you are good either way.
Like all, yeah, comedy is comedy. Like if I hear something that's funny, I'll just laugh. You know, George Carlin said funny things. Sebastian Maniscalco's very good, and he's more now. Who's Rodney? I loved Rodney Dangerfield and Phyllis
Oh my
Diller.
gosh, I love him.
Phyllis
I
Diller
loved
too.
Rodney. Oh my gosh,
Both
wasn't
of
he
them.
funny?
Bang, 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 bang. With Rodney Dangerfield and Phyllis Diller, they would say
Oh,
the
I love
jokes
them.
so Phyllis Diller. They would say the jokes so fast that you're still trying to get air to recuperate from the last joke, and they're
You're
coming at you
so
with the next
smart.
one and the next one.
Jim, you're so smart. You're so smart. You're a great host. You really need to like host your whole life. You're really good at it because you're so right about that. And but let me ask you this. This is going to be a tough question. I want you to answer totally honest. So for women, it's tough for women, right? Most women are not funny. There are very few women that are funny right now. Very few. It's harder for women because if they're outrageous, they kind of people take it the wrong way,
It's
or
been harder
they
for
can't
women, yeah,
carry it
to
off.
break through, right?
I want you to tell me because you're so smart, you're so insightful. I'm so impressed with you. In your opinion, why are women not funny in the comedy world? You know
Um,
I'm right.
well,
You are very few.
there's a few that well, you're funny. Rita Rudner's funny in that very dry sort of deadpan way. She's funny. She sort of is able to, and almost in a Phyllis Diller way, line after line after line without the expression, without laughing at her own jokes, which makes it even funnier. Um, there are a few out there that are funny, but I think it's been harder for women to probably be acknowledged and revered in comedy. And when you talk to many of them, they say that it's not as easy because it was breaking through a man's world. Always the comics were, the guys club. And so to do it at all, like even you do it, uh, as hard as it may be to still, even in this day and age, to really get through there and break through, um, it's quite an accomplishment. I mean, the fact even for you that you have a residency happening in Las Vegas with Kimmel, that's a breakthrough. That is very inspiring for others who are looking at you and others that are doing it, saying, you know what? I was going to totally give up on this, but look at them. Maybe I'll give it a shot. So kudos to you and to some of the others that are still out there doing it, you know?
But to answer the question you didn't answer, why do you
I'm a
think
very diplomatic guy.
women and who is funny now? I mean, who is? I mean, I appreciate you're so smart and you're so elegant to sidestep that. But I'm going to ask you again.
Who
Why do
you
you
mean
think it's
like
harder for women and who is funny now?
who is funny now? Well, again,
Rita
Rita.
Radner is old news. I love her. I agree with you. But who's funny now? See, you don't have anybody because nobody is. I'm going to be a big star. I'm going to be the funny one. It's okay. You don't have to answer it. You'll just say it's you, Dee Dee, and you're going to be right.
It's you, Dee Dee.
Out, my friend.
Wanda Sykes is funny.
She is. I agree with that. She is very funny.
Chelsea Handler is funny.
Can be.
Trying to think.
But you know what? But doesn't that tell you
Sandra
that so
Barnhard,
many women versus the
Melissa
men? It's harder
McCarthy.
for women.
Melissa McCarthy's funny.
I agree. So tell
Amy
me,
Poehler, she's
don't
funny.
you think it's a lot harder for women than it is for men?
Whitney Cummings is funny too.
Mhm.
I would say harder to just be funny or just to break through and maintain it.
No, I'm just saying, look, you get a lot of the guys are out there with comedy, but for the women, and I'm not like a women's liber. Look, I'm right wing. I'm a meritocracy person. I think that you should earn whatever you do. But I think in the comedy world, it is harder for women for whatever reason.
Are you finding that for yourself
No,
too?
not for me. I'm good.
Yeah, yeah, you're
No,
good.
no, no. Believe me, I'm good. I
Do you think you would ever, do you see yourself ever teaching it? Would you ever teach it to
am, yeah,
others?
blah. Hey, if you can't do teach, I'm gonna do. But thank you for bringing it up.
Yeah, I was
No,
gonna
I
say.
don't want to. I don't want to have a school. I mean, the people that are doing schools, they didn't make it. No, I'm on my way.
See, I got the school name. You could have called it He with Dee Dee.
Well, that'll be our own
I
a
was gonna
little.
say, write that down. You may think of that 5 years from now.
Well, maybe for the comedy club, but not for a damn
He
school. I mean, really, for a comedy club, with Dee Dee, I like it. Well done, my
see,
friend.
I'm
You'll
always
be
you
you'll be my. I'll try to like hire you away to be the permanent host.
so the
So for
branding,
a
right? Yeah.
comedy club, like the Yoo-Hoo Club or Flappers or all those stupid titles like Yee with Dee Hee with Dee Dee, but it's funny, right? So I mean,
Yeah.
I would do that for a comedy club in LA or New York or wherever, but I would never teach. I would make that my comedy club title, and I think it's really funny. I should buy it right now on GoDaddy because you came up with it because you're so smart. You're so smart.
Hey, I slipped up when I said levity, so it's it's I have an advertising kind of mind in
Yeah,
there,
you're
I
so
guess.
smart and
Yeah,
clever. I
branding.
mean, I see that.
Well, I
Look, I love
appreciate
that.
that. I
I'm
appreciate
happy
that.
to know you now. I'm happy to have that connect to
Oh, I'm
know
happy to know you
clever,
as well.
smart guy.
I'm happy to know you as well, and so excited for you with the wine and everything else that's going on. There's that website, folks, sorvinovino.com. Check it out. Again, it's produced at Lorimar Winery. They are amazing. There's their website as well. All of Dee Dee's handles for social media. This was really wonderful, my friend.
Sorvino on all the social handles. You know what Jim said, so don't disappoint him. Follow me. I want you to all follow me.
Yes.
Then Jim is going to come and host all the Sorvino Vino stuff, all the Temecula stuff. I like him, so we're all going to work together because I like team.
Yes, follow Dee Dee, follow me. I'm at Jim Masters TV on all the social media. Our YouTube channel is Jim
Woo!
Masters TV. Like this episode, subscribe to our YouTube channel, drop a comment on the YouTube channel as well. We would absolutely love that. Dee Dee, this was terrific.
Everybody follow Jim. Jim, I'm telling you, you are old school cool. I like it.
Oh, I like that. Old
I,
school cool.
yeah,
See. I love that. So I gave you he with Dee Dee, and you gave me old school cool.
you
See, it's
are.
all about teamwork.
It
High
is. It's all
five.
work. I love it. Love it.
That's so
Oh,
awesome. There you go.
I love it.
This was amazing. Do you know that we chatted for an hour and a half?
Well, of course we did,
It
because
doesn't feel like it. It goes by in a New York minute, I say.
in a New York minute.
In a New York minute. You're
In a
fantastic, Dee Dee.
minute.
Again, thanks for all of the love. I know it's still obviously fresh,
It
raw,
is.
and real. And the fact that you're able to even, come on the show and be so open and expressive and real about your life and your thoughts and your passions and who you are, remembering Paul in such a beautiful and authentic way. Because, we all knew him, but you really knew him, and sharing that with the essence of that with us as well. And good luck with everything further with the amazing things you're doing in comedy and hosting and acting and everything you're doing. And now in Paul's name and celebrating the love between the two of you. The Sorvino Vino Wine is extraordinary as well. We're going to keep the porch light on for you. You're welcome back anytime. And I hope you spread the word about the Jim Masters Show series.
Give me that porch light stuff. You're coming out to Lorimar. We're gonna big old Hollywood screening. There's no porch light. This is the big old like floodlight.
It's a flood lamp, not a porch light. Maybe in Indiana, it's a porch light.
Indiana,
but in Lorimar, it's a floodlight.
Yeah, maybe in Indiana.
Right. In Indiana, it's a porch light, but in Temecula, California, it's a flood. It's one of those Hollywood sort of strobe light things.
That's for you, my dear. That's what's going on. And then in New York, it's a marquee.
It's a marquee.
We got it all covered.
We've got it all covered from coast to coast.
That's right.
I hope you enjoyed the time with me as much as I have with you, and the show met
coast to coast, baby.
I appreciate that. I
Me too.
My father has always said, when we were kids, my father still says, whenever anybody says something kind or nice, Jim, ask them to please put it in writing and address it management. Whoever the management is, just address it management. They'll get it. Thanks so much. And again, there's the website, folks. Check it out. You're going to absolutely love it. And congratulations on everything. And really, I hope the show met whatever expectations you had, and you enjoyed the time with me.
You're fabulous. Well done. I'm so happy to know you. I think your show's great, and you're such a big talent. Thank you, Jim.
The pleasure is all mine. And again, thanks for sharing your raw emotion and being so comfortable and open to do that here on the show. I respect that, and I honor that, and I value that greatly. So, Dee Dee, you're the real deal. Real deal Dee Dee. There's the other name. Real deal Dee Dee. See, I got to think of all these things.
Smart. I told you that. It's all good.
That's it.
And we're totally doing the thing at Lorimar very soon. I'm going to tell Roger to hook it up with you right away. Okay. So you're coming.
Tell Mark we said hello. Yeah. Tell Mark we said hello. And Dee Dee, thanks so much. Continue blessings and joy coming your way, and all levity from us here at the Jim Masters Show Live, and from me. And we'll chat again real soon. Okay, my friend?
Thank you, darling. Love you. See you
Bye-bye.
soon.
You take care now. Take care now. You too. Boom. You got to give her credit. She was holding her phone in her hands the whole time. She held her phone in her hands the whole time. For an hour and a half, she did that. Her arm is now longer than the other one. I think, what was she holding it in the right hand or the left hand? Not everybody can do that. She really wanted to be on the show, and she was going to use, her whole computer and everything, but something didn't jive in the beginning. So she says, I'm getting on the show. She quickly hooked up her phone. She got her phone going, and there she was holding her phone so she could be on the show. I tell you, that's tenacity. Wow, what a spirited person. And again, in addition to celebrating the wine, which really is an amazing thing, we also celebrated iconic actor Paul Sorvino's extraordinary life. And again, over 200 movies, countless TV shows, stage performances. He only passed not that long ago. It hasn't even been a year, folks. July 2022. It's not even a year yet. So the raw emotion you saw Dee Dee, his loving wife, share with us here on the show was the real deal. She was feeling it. And as we were talking about Paul, was probably bringing some of it back. And she was so open and raw and real about it. She didn't hold back. And, that's what it's all about, folks. And you got a chance to a slice of it here on the Jim Masters Show exclusively. And of course, Ray Liotta, she's talking about actor Ray Liotta, who died a year ago as well. And he's on the left there. You can see, you could see Ray Liotta and Robert De Niro and Paul Sorvino and there's Pesci, and I tell you, they're all there. This is really extraordinary stuff, huh? Yeah, really incredible. So wonderful to have Dee Dee Sorvino on the show. Again, she shared a lot with us on the broadcast today. Emmy-winning host, comedian, author, actress, and wife of the late iconic film and television and stage icon, Paul Sorvino. Really, really a special episode. You know, a lot of these shows, these episodes of the Jim Masters Show are really historic. They're epic. They're extended. They're historic. They're epic. You never know what's going to happen. You never know which direction the conversation is going to go in. And this was really something. This is sometimes I never even know. You know, I guide the ship. I conduct the orchestra. I conduct the train. I keep the ship upright. Sort of the captain of the ship is the host and producer, but you never know. And thank you very much, Dennis. It's so nice to have you here. Appreciate those comments as well. And Kathleen, appreciate your comments. Thank you for being here with us, Dee Dee. You're an amazing person. Thanks for sharing your life with us. And also saying, great show, great lady, great host. Thanks, Jim. And great lovely viewer, Kathleen Walker. You know, you're with us all the time. Some of you, you know, there's some people who are in and out. They're sort of fair weather people. They say they're going to watch all the time. They watch just here and there and they're gone. And then there's those of you who are like here religiously all the time. And we know who you are. And we thank you so very, very much. And if you're new to the show, we have thousands of new viewers who have joined us recently. Some of them you see sprinkled in the Lovity chat. Some of you see commenting on our YouTube channel under the episodes, and some are just quiet and they click like and they leave a comment or they just watch. We thank you, whether you're watching daily, you watch this later in the archives, you watch us when we're live, you watch us when you can. That means a lot. These shows are very, there's a lot of labor involved in putting all this content together. Almost 1,000 shows we've done in just 3 years' time, which is unheard of. To give you a perspective, MASH was on 11 years on CBS. They did a total of 230 episodes. We're breaking 900 in just 3 years. Wow, that's a lot. A lot of lovity, a lot of talking. So thanks again. And if you really appreciate what we're doing here, which is unique, it's got an old school quality with a modern flair, modern vibe of today. Our guests come from all ages, genders, backgrounds, political views, no political views, religious, no religious, income levels, height, weight, zip code. Doesn't matter what car you drive, how much money you have in the bank. Doesn't matter what you had for dinner tonight. You're welcome to join us all the time on Lovity Hall, Jim Masters Show live series, bringing back that lost art of conversation. Kurt says, I am new this time. Kurt, welcome to the show. You're in the right place. You're now in Lovity Hall on the Jim Masters Show live. And thanks for the show, Kurt. Welcome. It's so awesome to have you here. And Merlin, thank you as well. And we thank you, Jim. We appreciate that. You guys are amazing. And Dee Dee, your laugh is really contagious. I appreciate that. And Dennis, thank you. Jim, you're a good guy. Dee Dee is clearly struggling with the loss of her husband, beloved husband. Absolutely, of course. She was very open with us, and I really, really appreciate that. I want to let you know we're going to have a lot of fun tomorrow. We have a rock and roll legend and dear friend joining us. He's all excited. We're excited too. Pepe Castro, legendary rock and roll legend, one of the founding fathers of the famous Blues Magoos, going to be with us tomorrow on the Jim Masters Show live at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. This will be his return visit to the show. Can't wait. And then over the weekend, coming up, we have Tim Gianni. Tim wrote this book called Pilgrims, Pickers, and Honky Tonk Heroes. He's been a writer, author, reporter, editor, photographer, and columnist in Tennessee and Nashville since the 70s. He's interviewed everybody from Muhammad Ali to Hank Aaron to even O.J. Simpson and so many other people, Chris Christopherson. And for decades, so many of Nashville's incredible musicians. And he's put this incredible book together that he shares intimately with us about his extraordinary life as a reporter, and this book and all the people and all the stories on an upcoming episode of our show. This is exclusive. And you know, on Sunday, look who's with us this Sunday. Jacques Pepin. We just did a little thing with him this week. He's going to be with us this Sunday. He is an international treasure, one of the most revered chefs of our time. For over 7 decades, he has been cooking. He is iconic. He's been on public television, PBS, with cooking shows for over 40 years. He's also done shows with Julia Child. He's done about 12 PBS series. Iconic. He is, I think he's on his 32nd cookbook. He's a culinary educator, 40 years, Boston University, Culinary Institute of America. He's a brilliant, fabulous artist as well, and a beloved TV personality. The iconic Jacques Pepin is going to be with us from his beautiful Connecticut home on the Connecticut coast Sunday, right here on the Jim Masters Show Live series. Cool, cool, cool. Amazing guests we have coming up, and that's just over the next couple of days here. So don't miss it, gang. Extraordinary people and rare opportunities to have them here with us. And we thank Dee Dee, and again, sharing the wonderful life of Paul Sorvino and their love together. Right here on the Jim Masters Show Live series. Gang, if you enjoyed this episode, do give us a like. There's a thumbs up like icon in all the episodes. Give us a like, leave a comment for us as well, and do subscribe to the YouTube channel. We would love it if you do that. Click that red subscribe button. Gang, it doesn't cost anything when you do that. And make sure you click the notification bell as well, because when you click the notification bell, that way there you have the opportunity to get notifications from us about all of the episodes of our series, which is really cool and quite special. All right, so we're going to wrap up here. We got a busy day tomorrow. I'm on radio all day, and then I've got a television shoot as well. Hey, Kurt says he liked and subscribed. Hey, Kurt, you're the best. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. You're amazing. Tell everybody you know about our show. Don't keep it a secret. And it's so great to have you here on the Jim Masters Show Live. Kathleen says it's going to be good to see Pepe Castro again. And relax. Yes, CIA, you got it, Kurt. And Jane in Sweden, thank you as well for watching, and all of our faithful who are here. We don't say goodbye. We say see you later. Ciao, cheers, sláinte, shalom, sayonara, hasta la vista. We say Avida Zane, Maury Loop, cheerio, take care, be well, and don't forget to relax. Don't forget to relax. Take time for yourself, love one another, take care of one another, and relax. And we'll be back with another episode. And if you're going to binge watch, there's hundreds of episodes with guests from Broadway, Hollywood, television, film, food, sports, comedy, inspiration, everything you can think of, child stars, major legendary people from music and television and movies. They're all here on our show. Lovely Hall is the place to be on the Jim Masters Show Live. And we love having you here. So you guys be well. Take care. Thanks for being with us on this episode of the Jim Masters Show Live series. Show us some love. Share the links to our episodes from our YouTube channel onto your social media. Again, you can find me at Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Jim Masters TV, our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. Now I'm going to have a cold drink of water. That's a lot of talking. Almost 2 hours straight without any sip. I'm going to have some sip now. Love you all. This is quite a special place we got here because you're here with us. We'll see you on the next one. Be well. I'm Jim Masters. Cheers.